Come on in, come on in. Welcome once again to Dialogue with Deirdra. I'm Deirdra Upperson, your Master Life Coach. And I have a question for you today. But before we dive into the question, I want to make sure you understand what we're doing here today. Maybe I should have posted. I don't think I've posted yet. Or if you were able to listen to the last coaching session, which was titled, What's Love Got to Do with Me? And that was an introduction to what I'm beginning here today. And what I'm beginning here today is a 7-part / 7-question relationship life coaching series. So if you didn't see the podcast, What's Love Got to Do with Me, you definitely want to look at that. I will repost it here on my Facebook page, YouTube, and several other channels. But once you've had a chance to look at What's Love Got to Do with Me, that was the question on our last podcast, you'll understand what we're doing here today. I see I have a couple of viewers out there. I'd like for you to say hello. Let me know if I'm coming through, if the sound is good. Let me know what you're seeing over there. So today's question, part 1, question 1 of a 7-part relationship life coaching series. And that question is, am I emotionally available? Some of you may think, sure, I've got emotions, I'm available, I'm here. But emotional availability is something that at times we could choose to have that, to be available. Okay, well, let's start with, what does it mean to be emotionally available? It's something that we can choose, or it's something that we can turn on and we can turn off. And it's something that sometimes has automatic reactions, and it's determined by past experiences. It's based sometimes upon past experiences. So emotional availability can be something, and it means different things to different people. And different people bring out or activate different states of emotional availability in each of us. What do I mean by that? Certain people can come around you and it can make your emotions happy, glad. Certain people can come around you and it can make you blow up. It's like you just don't want them around you. Certain people bring out certain and different emotions in us at different times. So the answer to the question is, am I emotionally available? Yes, we are emotionally available. But to what extent? For what reason? Do we always need to be emotionally available? Who do we need to be emotionally available to? First and foremost, I always start with self. We need to be emotionally available to ourselves. So again, the first question, the first part of this 7-part relationship series, the question is, am I emotionally available? Because when we're dealing with relationships, whether they're romantic, with our siblings, with our children, with our parents, with our co-workers, no matter what those relationships are, there has to be some kind of emotional attachment or not. I know some of us are in the workplace and we are totally detached from the workplace, which may have a bearing on the kind of work you do. So you might need to think about that. So sometimes we're emotionally unavailable. Well, we may need to be a little bit available, and we need to just understand the realm in which we need to take that. And that can mean all the difference in the world. Every love connection that we have and every reaction between two people is different. They're all labeled, and they're labeled in different ways. I don't want to always make it seem like we're talking about romantic relationships, because relationship, as a certified coach, when I talk about relationship, I want you to think about all your relationships, because all your relationships are important, and emotional availability in all of those relationships have their role. So let's not discount, you know. You could be in a romantic relationship and you can be emotionally unavailable to your partner. What that means is you may not feel what they feel, but you don't console them when they feel a certain way. You're detached yourself, which can have a bearing on the relationship in and of itself. You know, we talk about compassion. To be emotionally available to someone, you have to have some kind of compassion for them. So it's very sad if you're in a relationship, a love relationship, a relationship with your child, and you are emotionally unavailable to that child. You're not feeling or understanding where they're coming from. You're not empathetic. So being emotionally unavailable does not allow you to be empathetic, because you've detached yourself. You've gotten away from that. It really means you know difference one way or the other, and that's what you're conveying to the person involved. Again, once again, welcome to Dialogue with Deirdra. I'm Deirdra Uckerson, your certified master life coach, and we're talking about emotional availability and what that means. So let's first talk about what emotionally unavailable is. Let's talk about what being unemotionally available means. And I'm taking my time today. I'm trying really hard because this is something that we need to really understand, because all human beings have moments of emotional unavailability. It's human. We all have moments where, and forgive me, I put in contacts today because I saw that my glasses were causing glare that I did not want. So I felt like if I put in my contacts, I wouldn't have that problem. But I haven't worn them in a while, and they're kind of bothering me. But we're gonna get through this. Um, we all have moments where we're distracted by other things, and when we're distracted by other things, it may make us emotionally unavailable to certain things that we need to be paying closer attention to, i.e. partner, i.e. child, i.e. workplace, i.e. home. So distractions are human as well. They're inevitable. We might be wrestling with situations within our own life, and when we're wrestling with situations in our own life, we easily and unknowingly detach ourselves from other things and other people and what they may be going through, which may come off as being selfish, but the truth of the matter is we're wrestling with things ourselves. And sometimes as a parent, that can really become a problem, because parents, they go through things and they have bills, they have issues, they have things, and children don't understand that. And if you grew up in a household, anything like the household I grew up in, we didn't know, that our parents were having issues, or there were financial problems, or we didn't know. We didn't know because mom and dad just did their job as parents. But in this day and time, it's really hard. And I know raising my children, I tried hard not to let them see that or know that, but as a parent, I did my best, but I wasn't as good at it as my mother was. I think back in the day, they knew how to keep secrets and hide things, and and back then, kids were seen and not heard. But as time goes on and social media plays in, and nothing is hidden, nothing can really be a secret anymore. Some things don't need to be secret anymore. But now, with so many things going on and flying in the air, and things happening, it's very easy to become emotionally unavailable. So we're going to talk about what that means. Being emotionally available, basically, being emotionally unavailable means that someone deeply struggles emotionally anyway. They don't know how to feel, or they don't want to feel, and again, that's past circumstances. See, we're in these relationships, and we need to understand how they work for everyone involved, not just for the individual. Relationships include other people other than just ourselves. So when we're talking about building healthy relationships, and that's the only thing I want to focus on, and that is building healthy relationships. So when you find that you are so unavailable to people that need you to be available to them, you could destroy them, you could hurt them, you could teach them to become emotionally um, unavailable. We talked about why, when someone is emotionally unavailable, why does this happen? We talk about past experiences. Things have happened in their life. They've experienced some kind of physical trauma, emotional trauma, neglect, sexual abuse, abandonment in their past. There are a lot of reasons why people are emotionally unavailable. So when you're dealing with someone and you're in a relationship with them, no matter what the relationship is, if they seem to have a problem being emotional one way or the other. Now, some of these relationships don't require so much emotional attachment, like work relationships. They should not require that much emotional attachment. But when you're in a love relationship and you can sense that there's an emotional detachment, you need to understand that there's something underlying there, that it's not you. Because if it were you, they wouldn't be in that relationship with you. So what you should really get real peace from is the fact that this person is in a relationship with you. You need to take your time if in fact you want to stay in that relationship, whether it's a friend, whether it's family, whether it's love. There can be underlying circumstances that are deeply rooted. And you just may need to see enough to see that someone that you love or that you're having this emotional detachment with, they may need help, and you may be the one that helped them get that help. So pay attention. Don't get upset. Don't get mad. Don't take it personal. That's what I do. I take it personal, and I'm learning to not take it personal. People that have trouble being emotionally unavailable are essentially afraid. They're scared. They're afraid of something. And now, if this is you, and I hope you're listening to me, get help with that. As a coach, I could help you with that, but to be honest, you may need more professional help. You may need therapy. You may need counseling. You may need to talk to someone that can really get to the deep root of your problems, because when we're emotionally unavailable, there is a deeply rooted problem that we may not have come to realize, that we ignore, that we know, and we just want it to be gone. And this is a learned behavior. We learn to do this to ourselves. And as well, anything that can be learned can be unlearned. So, and that's what that coming in to get therapy or help or something, to get someone to help you unlearn the problem with that. Now, when you choose to be emotionally unavailable, how can I put this? If you never allow yourself to open up totally to another person, to trust them, to let them in, to draw them in, to go towards them, if you miss out on awesome loves and powerful, fulfilling, incredible connections. Ultimately, being emotionally unavailable, um, it does not allow you to fully know another person. So when I ask the question, am I emotionally available? You may say yes. You may say no. You may say sometimes. And you may say it depends on who I'm needing to be or not needing to be emotionally available to. So we need to work on and we need to understand and become aware, um, especially if we are unavailable. And a lot of times in the workplace, if you're emotionally unavailable, and that doesn't mean that you're just an open box of emotions, raw emotions. No, we need to show emotion as far as our work. Are we happy with our work? Are we showing that we could do the job? I mean, you have to show some emotion. And if you make yourself emotionally unavailable in the workplace, you may be shutting down a promotion. You may be shutting down a referral for another position. You may be shutting down opportunities that you didn't even know were there for you. We never know who's watching us, and we never know why. So, um, when you make yourself emotionally unavailable in the workplace, it can harm you. When you make yourself emotionally unavailable within your family, people start to feel like you don't want to be around them. You don't want to be bothered with them. And then they start to ask the question, why are you here? Why you, what's the purpose? So when you make yourself emotionally unavailable in relationships, you push that other person away. Could have been the greatest love of your life, but you push that person away, and now they don't, because it hurts another person's feelings when they have began with some type of emotional attachment to you, but you do not reciprocate that. It will it will change how they feel about you. It will change the relationship that never even started. It will change so many things. So you want to be careful. Um, you want to be careful about that. You want to make sure that you don't make anyone feel as though you don't want them when indeed you do. You do. So what I want to do is I want you to first recognize whether or not you are emotionally available versus being emotionally unavailable. I want you to look at those relationships where you are emotionally available and compare them to those relationships where you are not emotionally available. And when you compare the two, of course, you need to look at those persons involved in those feelings, the settings, the situations. We need to find out, because what you don't want to do. Now, I'm the type, eh, if I'm emotionally available to you, you know it. You know it. I'm an open book. But if I'm not emotionally available to you, for whatever reason, and more often than not, if I'm not emotionally available to you, you more than likely know the reason. You already know. I've told you, and probably have told you to make sure that you keep a nice social distance. So, because sometimes your emotions protect you. They protect you. But if you don't understand them, they can also hurt you. So I want to give us steps to emotional. Okay, wait, go. Steps to emotional availability. Because I want us to learn how to not let our emotions stop us from getting things we deserve. Uh, I want us to be aware how emotional availability and emotional unavailability can both hurt us and or harm us. So we're going to start with how to be emotionally available. Um, okay, we already talked about what it means to be emotionally available. That means we're just not comfortable in certain situations, and we get that. We understand that. But I want us to go through steps um, to help us become more emotionally available. I'm going to give you 5 steps. 5 steps to becoming more emotionally available in a relationship. Again, let's not take everything to be a romantic relationship because um, we should have more than romantic relationships in our life. Um, so these steps I want us to be able to use in just about any given situation. 5 steps. Step number 1. Get expert help. And we talked about that. I told that. Step number 1 in becoming more emotionally available. Because we need to be emotionally available even in those situations where we don't want to be, we want to detach ourselves, we want to be bothered with that. We need to be emotionally available sometimes to get our point across. Because sometimes when we're unemotional, when we're unavailable in our emotions, just because we don't want to do that, it comes off as if we don't want to deal with it, because that's exactly what it is. We don't want to deal with it. So step number 1, get expert help with becoming more emotionally available. So step number 1 is get expert help. Now, if you feel like you can go straight from a counselor to a coach, I'm there for you. So that's step number 1. And this is a good one I always talk about. Step number 2 is practice self-awareness. Do more than just practice self-awareness. Step number 2 is become more self-aware. Step number 2, become more self-aware. I'm now giving you steps to become emotionally available or more emotionally available. Step 1, get expert help. Step 2, become more self-aware. That's step number 2. Step number 3 is, and there are so many more I can show you, but I'm just gonna start with baby steps because, like I said, we have 6 more questions to go through. And if anyone out there has a question in mind or would like me to go over and discuss a question, email it to me at deidraelkerson@live.com. You can also call me at 714-926-0929. So I gave you 2 steps. Step 3 is take baby steps toward being vulnerable. Take baby steps toward being vulnerable. What that means is that when you are emotionally unattached, unavailable, you You have a wall up. You've built a wall. And that wall does is keep you from being vulnerable, keeps you from being hurt, keeps you from being soft, keeps you from being in situations that you are uncomfortable in. So let's take baby steps toward that. So in other words, if you want to be more emotionally available, you have to become vulnerable. You have to become vulnerable. So take baby steps when doing that. Don't go too fast and don't go too soon. Go at your own pace. But when you become self-aware, you know what you're doing. Take your time, long as you're getting it done. So take baby steps towards becoming vulnerable. Okay? Number 4, communicate openly and honestly. I talk about that so much. Communication is key. And being honest. And you need to first communicate with yourself. I know I'm not the only one out there that talks to themselves out loud and otherwise. Yes, I do. And here's the kicker. I will answer myself. Sometimes I like the answer I give myself, and sometimes I know it's not the right answer. But step number 4 is to communicate honestly and openly with yourself, with others. If you're working on your self-awareness towards becoming more vulnerable, to becoming more emotionally available, you may need to let some people close to you know, hey, I know that I may not be there for you emotionally the way you need me to, but I'm working on that. I need you to know I'm working on that. You're being honest, you're communicating that, and that lets that person know, wow, I do mean something to him, or her, or them, or they. So that's step number 4. Communicate openly and honestly. Now, step number 5 is step number 5. Open up bit by bit. Remember I said take it slow? When you allow yourself to become more vulnerable, open up bit by bit. That means you're not knocking down everything and trying to tackle everything all at once, because now you're becoming overwhelmed with yourself. Now you're doing yourself more harm than good. So do it bit by bit. Go slow, but just make sure you open up. Make sure you're getting it done. And again, when you communicate to those people that you really need to communicate it to, even on the job, you may need to say, hey, look, I know I've been closed up in my cubicle or in my office, but I've been thinking some things through, and I want to make sure that I'm doing the best I can do, and blah, blah, blah. Now you've opened yourself up, and you've also allowed the other person or the other people you're communicating to be open with you, and they may help you through some of that. And number six, if you're really stuck, consider getting help from those that you want to become more emotionally available to. Now, this is not the expert help that I was speaking of. This help is coming from, and this is the hardest help to ask for, because a lot of times the people closest to you, they can help hurt you the most because you're more vested in them and what they think of you. So that's if you're really stuck. If you're really stuck, consider getting help from those close to you. So I would say step number 6 is consider getting help from loved ones. And in parentheses, that's if you're really stuck, because that's a pet peeve of mine. Now, I don't know if I said I had 7 steps for you. If I did, I gave you 6. So number 7, I would say recognize when you are becoming more emotionally available. because then and only then can you continue to work on it. You know, um, how can I give you an example of that? You know how you work on something? I'm going to give you something tangible, something you can touch. Like, the house is a mess for whatever reason. Just a mess. And your laundry needs to be done. And the rugs need to be vaccinated. I don't know what to say because I keep a very clean house. But laundry piled up. You need to vacuum the carpets. You need to polish the furniture, stuff like that's what I need to do. You need to water the plants. You need to change bedding, all of that, and you become so overwhelmed with all these things you need to do. You don't know where to start, or you start on one thing, go to another room, and you start doing that, and before you realize it, you made a bigger mess than you had in the beginning. So step number 7 is recognize. Recognize when you are making progress, and continue with that progress. But don't go overboard and do so much till it becomes a mess again. And then now we're back at square one. Now, not only are we emotionally unavailable to others, now we're emotionally unavailable to ourselves because we just close down. We just shut down. We just shut down. So, with today's question being, am I emotionally available? It's going to really help me go into what the next question will be for the next question, for the next part of the 7-part series. So, the next podcast will be question number 2 to the 7-part series. And this is all about what's love got to do with me. So again, I'm going to put out there that introductory podcast that explains what the 7-part series is all about. And in the future, I will be bringing my podcast a 7-part series based on different coaching disciplines, i.e. happiness, i.e. professional, i.e. post-personal, i.e. just all kind of coaching disciplines. So again, this having been part 2 / question 2 in the 7-part What's Love Got to Do with Me relationship life coaching series. Am I emotionally available? Again, let's do some research. If you need a coach to help you with that, if you need any questions answered, if you would like an answer question, Deirdra is always available to dialogue with you. Am I emotionally unavailable? Me, I'm so emotionally available till I get my own feelings hurt. I don't know if you heard that new song. I don't know if it's new or not, but I love me some Jasmine Sullivan, and she has this song now called Pick Up Your Feelings. Come and pick up your feelings. I can't tell you how many times I had to go back to whatever, in my mind or in my heart, and pick up my feelings. Like, let me just take those with me right now because those are mine, my feelings. I can't put none of that on nobody else, no matter what you did to me. I'm no longer feeling that way, so I'm going to pick up my feelings. Like they say, how you take your ball and go home, leave the playground. I'm picking up my feelings, and I'm leaving the emotional mess where it is. And if I need to work on myself or something, I'm going to do that. But being emotionally unavailable has not been the issue for me. Being emotionally available to too many, that's my problem right there. I'm so raw and open with people, and I won't say people in general, with family members, that I get my feelings hurt. And I can't even say they hurt them. Because people will say and do things and not realize that it hurt your feelings, or if they do realize it, they really don't care. And I can be like that sometimes too. not tactful enough in what I'm saying. But I'm getting better. I'm learning. And if social distancing has taught me nothing else, it has taught me how to be alone with myself, how to be alone with what I feel, how to understand my emotional struggles. And I understand it to the point where there are no longer struggles. They're not issues. They're not problems. It's just something else I need to work on, get better at, so that I can coach you to help you through it so you can get better at it. But let's take a look at our emotional, how do I say that, emotional workup, our emotional selves. You know, we talk a lot about looking at the man in the mirror. I talk a lot about that, but sometimes, we're such an emotional mess because of ourselves that we can't even look at the man in the mirror. So we need to become self-aware. So again, go over those 7 steps I was talking about. Do some research on your emotional health. Emotional health. We often go to the doctor for our physical health. We go to the doctor for mental health. We need to get emotional health checkups as well. And just like anything else, your body tells you when something's wrong. Your emotional self will let you know when something needs to be tweaked, when you need an emotional chiropractor. And this coach here can be your emotional chiropractor. I can help you get there. But we first need to be aware of if we are emotionally attached, emotionally available, or if we are emotionally unattached or emotionally unavailable. We need to know the two. We need to distinguish the two. We need to compare it to those relationships and situations where we are emotionally available, where we are emotionally attached. And we need to understand that nothing's wrong with being emotionally unattached to certain individuals and certain people and certain circumstances, but let's make sure that when you do that, you are doing it correctly. You are doing it in a healthy manner, and you're not doing it to be facetious or spiteful or mean. That you're just protecting yourself and others. And when you emotionally make yourself unavailable to some, it may be forever, and sometimes it's not. Because sometimes we need to detach emotionally to some so they'll see, so they'll miss it, so they'll know. And it gives them time to think things over. It's so much to emotion that we don't understand how intricate it is to our daily living. You've heard of road rage. You've heard of people going from, she went from 0 to 100, just like that. Our emotions can hurt us just as much as they can help us. But we have to understand them. We have to be aware of them. And in order to do that, we have to know ourselves. I talk about knowing yourself and your self-talk and being honest and loyal to yourself. None of this coaching work can happen until you do those things. None of that can take place and prosper until we do those things. How many of us during this pandemic has really closed themselves up? I'm not just talking about social distancing. I'm talking about quality quarantining with yourself. How many of us have really done that? I'm not saying just turn it on the TV or curling up with a good book. I mean, how many of us have sat in journals and talked in the journal or talked to ourselves or had conversations with ourselves? I know I've done it way before quarantining, but quarantining really helped me have to. And I tell you, once this pandemic gets over, and it will be over, I don't care what nobody say, it's going to be over, I'm going to continue to do quality quarantining from time to time. Because I think we all need that. I think it helps so much. And when you get in touch and in tune with yourself, you'll be really open to becoming in touch and in tune with others. You'll even realize people that you didn't realize before. You'll begin to not realize people that you've realized before. You'll begin to give the right people the right amount of your time. You'll begin to give people, not the benefit of the doubt, but you'll begin to give people a little bit more of you. You'll begin to get a little bit more of people. Now again, comes to which people we're talking about. Because again, there's nothing wrong with choosing to hit delete with some people. Nothing wrong with deleting people out your life. But just make sure you understand the reason why you delete them. You don't go deleting nobody because they said your sweet potato pie wasn't this good as it was last year. Don't be deleting nobody for that. You can't do that. Thank you for joining Dialogue with Deirdra, and hopefully when it's edited and put back out there, the sound will be fine, everything will be good. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening, because I'm going to enjoy mine. Thank you. Dialogue with Deirdra says make sure you know your worth and always stay on the lighter side. Bye.
A life coach can help you transform your life. From helping to achieve personal and professional goals, face difficult situations, push past emotional barriers to improving productivity, living a fulfilling life, and much more. Help you explore what is blocking you. Help you identify what you want, your whys, and your hows. Help to keep you on track with your goals. Assisting you in turning your vision and dreams into reality. Help you find your path or purpose. Help you determine your perfect career. Promote you having a purpose and direction. Provide a fresh perspective and look at your life from a different angle. Help improve focus and promote motivation. Provide you with techniques and tools to achieve what you want out of life. Help you be more mindful about your beliefs and perspectives, which will assist you in adopting new understandings about how to reach your goal. Provide a sounding board and help you see issues in a new light. Push you to keep you motivated. Challenge you to reach new heights. Hold you accountable so you can push yourself forward. Ensure that you are making progress in your goals.